graduation. I thought they went awesome, and we had a lot of good kids that promoted and graduated. So appreciate all the staff's help, and have a good summer.
Kind of did the same thing. It was my first time to attend the graduation and promotions, and it was really awesome and very touching, and it was exciting to see the kids get excited about reaching their goals, and I really appreciate that.
We have to piggyback along with that. It became personal for me when my daughter graduated, so I'm very happy. And I told her, as you exit the stage, please don't trip over your luggage. But she's still there, so that's a good one. And we got a lot of good input. People were very pleased, and we did an outstanding job. A few folks had never been there before. I ran into them, and they said it was amazing. Compared to, one gentleman wouldn't tell me what school district he was from, but he said compared to theirs, ours was. I said, where are you from? He said, it's not important. I said, okay. That was kind of funny. But, it was very nice, and I have to. This, I think, more than any, because there were so many young people that a lot of us personally knew, and a couple of our sports programs have done so well. It was amazing. But with that, thank you. RTA report.
Nothing in particular.
Yes, sir. Do you still, Mr. Kayaks, do you still have, I'm sorry, I'm trying to say ongoing negotiations, or are they done?
We've got some language improvements we're looking at trying to do that I was hoping to do 2 months ago.
Yes, sir.
But I think it'll be a summer project.
And Denver School, I have to say, it seems like this is the first time in a long time we've hired, well, and I said this in closing, that we've had so many teachers retire. I know you've probably seen, I know it comes and goes, ebbs and flows, you know, but it seems like this year there's been quite a number of, I would say senior teachers, but.
Yeah, I don't really think we had that many retirements, but we seem to be needing to add lots of personnel. There's sort of a lot of kids coming. But yeah, it's more students, more programs. More positions. Not that many retirements. There were only 6.
Yeah, 6 or 7.
Probably 7. It's pretty much about what it is each year.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Superintendent's report?
Just the RES construction is on target for us to get the keys somewhere around the 21st, 22nd of June after we do our punch list walkthrough, so we can start moving in, complement to our maintenance and you know, our other helpers there who are normally subs stepping up in this weather to, you know, warm weather to help us move, and they're doing a really good job over at RES. Also, a lot of things happening during the summer. We have our summer reading program that's going really, really well at West Park, which is from 9 to 2 Monday through Friday. That also coincides with our summer seamless feeding program at West Park, and we also have the same summer feeding program seamless summer feeding program at TMS. We will have summer school start this Monday at Tropical Middle School. So that'll be in full swing for 5 weeks, as well as Alt Ed and the high school is doing their credit recovery summaries, summer school starting this Thursday. That is, you know, a lot of stuff is going on during summer, and we're, you know, getting ready for next year with all the different things, as well as we have projects for adding portable buildings, for our many new students at West Park, at Tropical Middle School, the move of RES into their new location. Then they'll be using both sites, and then the refurbishing of the old RES, and then the opening of the Early Childhood Development Center at the old RES. So a lot of things are going on, as well as our grounds have all their summer projects that they do now that the kids are here, as well as the maintenance crew and the janitorial crew of deep cleaning classrooms and stuff. So there's a lot going on during the summer. It seems like we're just as busy summertime as we are during the year. So a lot to get done, but we'll get it all done before the start of school. And that's it, sir.
Do we have a day for the ribbon cutting?
We haven't. that day, but it will be actually an open house, ice cream social, and ribbon cutting ceremony, and it is for the first week of August. And we don't have the exact date. We're trying to coordinate. It'll be sponsored by Saramark and Bruns Construction, and so we're getting the exact day, time, and it'll be a lot of fun. So that'll go out real soon.
I know our friend John will be.
Yeah, I'd love to get that word out. People be, ice cream?
Really good.
Ice cream.
What's funny, John, I don't mean to, but it just seems like the other day we actually broke ground.
It does, doesn't it?
It does, it really does. You know, we're all standing out there with the shovels and how fast this is all, you know.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
And I toured the site today, and man, they're humming. They're doing a lot of the hardscaping is starting around the buildings. A couple of the buildings are already 100% done. So yeah, it's pretty. They're moving. You know, they know they have a big calendar in their construction. You know, countdown to days. So they're humming. They're doing a good job. They're moving quick. So yeah.
Let me ask Ms. Hardy, do you think, and this blows my mind, that we will, by in this round of school year, we will actually achieve those 40 students? We'll have 1,000 students at West Point.
We certainly could.
It's conceptual, I just can't.
They
you know.
finished at 9, I think like 962, so they're not far off.
Yeah, our
As those houses finish.
estimated beginning enrollment, and this is actually a conservative estimate, is over 3,700. And that's conservative. Eric and I were working on it. We decided to look at the pending enrollments and really only take half of them and put them just to be as conservative as possible. So I think fun stuff.
That's just amazing, just amazing. Wow. Well, thank you, sir. There's no time left.
Let's just call it what it is.
We need more teachers. All right, thank you. Consent items,
I will get you back.
and I know we have, I believe J and N are the same. And then, do we have any? Yeah, J and N are the same.
No, one's for the services
No.
and one's for the annual board
There's
policy.
two different ones.
Oh, that's
I
true.
thought
There
so
are
too,
two
didn't
different
they?
gamut. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
two different agreements.
They-
One's for the annual servicing, and one's for the updates and stuff.
Yeah.
A motion to approve consent items A through F.
Second.
See, got you in trouble for the head
I'm sorry,
Patrick made the
okay, so, Mr. Reader made
Yeah.
the
motion.
motion, and you second.
Yes.
Mr. Reader, second, Mr. Kirk, in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. I'm sorry, what did you say? Did you say all of it, or just A through?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Personnel.
I was thinking the same thing myself.
I'll make a motion, but I need to
Gotta be
remove
somebody
two
last night.
numbers off of there.
Yes, sir.
2958
Can you give us the page?
and 1757. I'm going to consider separately.
2958, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, what was the other one?
1757.
Pages.
They're page 3 and then page 6.
Oh, makes sense.
Oh, so,
I'm sorry. So, Mr. Gutierrez, is there a second to that? With those changes? Yeah, go ahead.
Second.
I'm sorry.
I want to
$29.73.
And I'm sorry, Mr. Reader,
$29.73. And I'll second his,
So we have.
Mr. Reader, what page number is that? Is that on 7?
on page 1, 3.
Page 3. Thank you. Motion by Mr. Gutierrez to make that motion, or Mr. Reader made that? Mr. Gutierrez made that motion?
Cheers.
Mr. Reader seconded.
And who said that?
Aye.
Ms. Kirk. Ms. Kirk, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry, guys, thank you.
Now,
Yes.
I'll let you guys make a motion to approve the others. The other three.
Okay, I move that we approve personnel 2973, 2958, and 1757.
Mrs. Kirk, to approve those three, and a second by Ms. Sanchez. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Abstain.
Three ayes.
Two abstain.
Two abstains, yeah. Gotcha. That's true. We got that. All righty, thank you. Now moving on, business operation, the second reading approval of resolution 16-1709 to the GL bond sale.
Or the final action item to approve the resolution and the related documents to this new series of bonds, which issue up to about $6 million. And this is from the 2008 election. So we were able to go back and recapture some of that remaining authorization that was never issued. You had about $10 million of that you didn't issue. And the reason that you had went out to do the 2014 was because you couldn't access that because of the tax rate, because of your assessed values, wouldn't allow you to access that. Given the upturn in your economy and your assessed values increase, we were able to tap into that and get you the money for all these great things that you're talking about with all your expansion. So we moved it along pretty quickly, and we're going to continue to have you to approve it all. We were anticipating having a closing hopefully by the end of this month or next month, but we did run into an issue with the waiver process. As you can remember, in 2014, we issued those bonds and we needed a waiver from the California Department of Education. And we had one in place. It was done in 2015, and we were under the assumption that we could use that waiver, that waiver would work. But unfortunately, the legal folks did not anticipate that we'd be issuing anything from 2008, and it only references, that waiver is only good for the 2014 bonds. So we made a plea to Sacramento to try to maybe just streamline this process, but they they want us to go through the regular waiver process. So I've spent the last day down in Los Angeles with our finance team looking at how to do that and do that quickly. So we have thought it is in the best interest for you to continue to use these documents. They will still work. We will now be doing the waiver for that. We anticipate the closing of this where you'll be getting the money in September. It takes about a little over 2 months for us to complete the waiver application, get it up to Sacramento, and get it all approved. And then once that comes in, we can post the official statement and do it. So what do we have to do over the next few months, and what is your role in that, so I can tell you what to expect? I'm going to be back here at the next board meeting on the 21st, and I'll have the waiver documents for you to approve, so we will have that. We will be, in the next couple days, we will be doing the public notice for the public hearing, which is associated with it, so you'll open up a public hearing when you approve that waiver. So we'll get all that done. Now, what are some of the upsides to this, if there are some? This has got to be good. I think you're going to like this. You may like it. Okay, so right now, we have you, Mr. Weinstein told me, I need as much money as I can get from that because I got these 600 and something kids coming and we got to build or get portables. Well, what we're going to have, because we're not being able to close until September, is we're going to have a new AV cycle come out. It comes out in July and August. And if that assessed value is higher than what we had projected, and we had projected around a 6% growth, that's going to allow us to have a larger AV base, and chances are we may be able to borrow more than $6 million. So I know that every dollar counts in this situation. So we had originally just thought it would be better to go ahead and get the $6 million now because we needed the money, but now since we do have to wait, it'll just allow us to do that. If in fact we have to increase the $6 million, we will have to come back to you and get that approved, because what you're approving today is only up to $6 million, because that's what's been baked in there. So we can't change that because we had a first reading that happened a couple weeks ago when we were here. My colleague John Castanoni was here. So we will stay on top of it. I can, for almost certainty, guarantee you'll have the money in September when the kids get back to do all the stuff that you need to do. And we'll be working very hard through the summer, just like the rest of you, to make sure that this all gets processed. It gets processed right. So I'll be working closely with superintendent and staff to put that in place. But we have everything ready to go. And so tonight's approval should be the final one. We could come back to you to reapprove this resolution if in fact we choose to go out for a larger dollar. Okay? So that's what I have to report, and I'm here like always to answer any questions that you may have about this specific financing.
Can you talk to the board a little bit about our A+ rating?
Oh, A+ rating, yes.
Why I didn't get it double.
An A+ is a pretty good one, I have to tell you. But anyway, so we went to the rating agencies to get the rating reaffirmed. With all of the growth and the strong assessed value that you have here, a lot of the economic indicators are all really up for you. You have good, solid fund balances, well managed. And you're at an A+. So we always try to push them a little bit to see, because going into the AA category. So they did come back to us and gave us a reaffirmed A+ rating. So it's with a stable outlook. I think over time you could potentially have a AA, and we will always try to push you in that direction, because with a AA you have increased or you have decreased borrowing costs. It's just like a higher FICO score. You know, your interest rate is going to be lower because you're a better quality. But A+ is high. A lot of your neighbors around here have an A rating, and so again, we'll continue to monitor it and do our best. And I'll tell you, both of you should be very proud. Your staff did a great job. We went up to San Francisco and they represented the Southern Kern Unified School District very, very well. So they're very pleased. The rating agency is what they saw and heard. Okay.
Right now, John, we're talking 6 million or 8 million, I'm sorry.
6 million.
6 million, okay. So if that assessed value, I know your crystal ball's broken, if the assessed value is above 6%, where do you see that?
I know, it's just funny. I was just asked that from Eric, and I wish, that's always a good one. I'd say, you know, if somebody had to ask me what, if I had to put a number in a jar and we were doing a contest, I would say you could likely be at 9%. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me with all of this growth. Now, what is always unknown to any of us is there is probably some assessed value that could be dropping off. Who knows with some of the businesses and the large commercial enterprises, if their assessed values are changing, we're not quite certain for a variety of reasons. So I always have to say, hold it with reservation. But last year we had a 6%, and so you would just assume we'd have to be higher than that. But all things indicate to it being higher. So we will be waiting, for that to come out, and once it does, what will happen is I will show the numbers, run the numbers, come back to Mr. Weinstein and say, this would be your new borrowing amount. And then if it's sizable, above 6 million, then it may be worth the time to come back to you and reapprove these documents, because I guarantee you probably have enough needs for the Okay.
Thank you, sir.
I'll make a motion that we approve the resolution.
Can you actually do a roll call? Do a roll call.
No, we do the motion.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, thank you. All right, so that's a motion made by Mr. Gutierrez. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So roll call. P, approved preliminary official document dated June 8, 2017. Mr. Weinstein.
So preliminary official statement is the preliminary document that we will go out to people who will go out to the people who are looking to buy the bond. And this is it's almost, I guess, John, you could call it a prospectus.
Yeah, like a prospectus.
It's a prospectus
It's the
for bond.
investor information. It's probably about 100-page document. And it
Have it.
Oh, they do, yeah. So you have it there, and it contains your financial information, the background on the district, all the stuff about the bonds. And again, it's something that it's really a document authored by the district, crafted by the lawyers, but we always want to make sure you have a chance to look at it, make sure the information is correct. We have reviewed it on your behalf as well. We make comments over the last few weeks to make sure all the information is accurate, as well as staff. And again, if we need to make changes to that as a result of the new AVs that come out and we have a higher borrowing amount, we would bring this back to you for reapproval. So.
I can imagine with that writing, people would look at that. Companies, conglomerations, so we'll look at that. So it's an A+, so that's it. We're not taking any chances there.
That's exactly right. One of the things I will tell you is I spent the day at the underwriter's desk down in Los Angeles, Stiefel Nicholas, and we do, as you know, we had anticipated rates to continue to rise. And again, that was as a result of the political situation that had occurred, and we had saw all interest rates kind of going up, stock market going up, a variety of things. That now has kind of reversed itself and stabled. So the outlook over the next 3 to 4 months, given the best that we know and how we are gauging our business, is that it's probably going to remain pretty flat. We don't see them doing a lot with some of the uncertainty that's going on, and so we don't think you're going to be in a situation where the borrowing costs in September are going to be significantly higher than they are today. We anticipate them to be relatively flat.
Thank you. Can I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion. Will you accept it?
Motion, Mr. Gutierrez. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Curriculum and instructions. Public hearing on proposed LCAP, Liquor Control Accountability Plan.
So each year in June, we present the LCAP plan, which is the Local Control Accountability Plan, which basically is our business plan of how we are spending the local, the supplemental and concentration funds that are given to us to service certain areas of our district and our stakeholders. Our Local Control Accountability Plan, so just as a reminder, every California school district has to come up with one every year. And we are asked by the CDE to hold meetings for all the stakeholders, which Leanne and I did, and Eric was there too, and we listened to input from the community, from stakeholders, from students, from teachers, from admin, from different parent groups all around. And what we do is we take those suggestions, we present our current plan, what we're currently doing. You know, we talk to everybody about, well, this is what we're doing right now. What else can we be doing? Which changes should we make? What are your suggestions? Along with, we obviously, as admin, are planning the next few years. And we talk about that too. And then we put it in a plan, and that plan is submitted to county. It's approved by county, and then county submits it to the CDE. And basically, the local control funding formula gives us, gives us two types of funds. Supplemental funds are for foster youth, homeless youth, English learners, as well as low-income families. And concentration funds, because we're above 55% of our students meet that criteria, we get additional funds on top of the supplemental. These are the stakeholder meetings that we include each year. And we do have LCAP surveys for parents, teachers, or staff members, and students all on our website. So we collect that too, and we, in the end of all that, we have a public hearing with the board. In other words, having a public hearing at a board meeting that allows the community to give input in addition to all those meetings that we hold. So Currently, we're 82% on duplicated count. That's what we've been the last couple of years. In 15-16, the total dollars between supplemental and concentration fund money was 6.4 million. 16-17, this last current year, about 6.7, and we anticipate to be about 6.4 going into 17-18. So that's about where we are. We're about $6.5 million, give or take. That's about where we are. And of course, those revenue numbers may change depending on enrollment, obviously. So we have goals that we have been working on continually the last couple of years, we're currently working on, and then we have new goals that are taking us, or actions that are taking us forward into the future years. So when you make the plan, and just to give a slight history, just as a reminder, so when we first 4 years ago went to local control funding formula, the idea from the government was that we're going to give you the money, you know where to spend it where you think is necessary. Then because of political lobbying and things going back and forth, a number of our elected officials felt that that was too broad. It allowed districts to do whatever they wanted with the money. So they said, we gotta put in some restrictions. Remember, before that we had categorical funds that could only be spent in certain ways, right? So they said, you kind of let the door open for a lot of weird stuff going on here. We have to start reining them in. So that's where the local control accountability plan came in. They said, you can spend it any way you want, but we want to know how you spend it. So submit this, and so we know where you spent it. Then the third year came along, which was last year, and they said that not only do we want you to give us an accountability plan, but we're going to give you a number of goals that your accountability plan has to address. So even though you can spend it any way you want it, it's like you can spend it any way you want it as long as you spend it on this stuff. So it kind of started restricting us a little bit more, right? So it's kind of like it first started out, spend it on what you want it. Now we're slowly, surely, they're kind of putting us in a corner. However, it is our contention, and this is the way we've been doing it, and it has passed muster every year, that pretty much what they're saying is the actions that you are going to fund need to positively affect these goals that we will give you. And you can have additional goals within the district, but you need to affect these. So we feel that a lot of these are what we call crossover goals. In other words, what we're already doing positively affects those goals, so we can continue to work on that. So, for instance, current goal. Obviously, our local goal, improve student and staff safety, is our #1 goal here at all times. Their CDE goal was lower expulsion and suspension rates. So that has a lot to do with safety, student safety. So we kind of combined what we were doing locally with this now CDE goal. So things that we're doing, video monitoring, what we have been doing and will continue to do, video monitoring at all sites. We hired a lot of additional safety officers. We added behavioral counselors and therapists at each site. We do anti-bullying campaigns at each site. And we have enacted over the last couple of years the PBIS systems for discipline at all sites. So through our meetings, go to this, what they have come up with and some of the things that we have for the future are we are still working on hiring the Sheriff's Resource Officer, and that has been a continual future goal for us. We have started up new discussions with the Sheriff's Department. New ID badge system with GPS for students. Additional emergency training. This was a big one from the staff too. The staff wanted additional emergency training. Not just, let's do a fire drill, but active shooter, all the different new things that we really need to address, as well as doing what we call more intensive drills. So even though active shooter is an intentional, but even like say with an earthquake drill, right? So an earthquake drill, is your nurse setting up a triage station when you do the drill? Or are they just making sure the kids are lined up correctly? Those type of things. Greater amount of security procedure for the parking lots. Although we have CSOs at the gates, there's a lot of concern that the parking lots are not safe because of the crowding of the parking lots and the people not following the rules of the parking lots when they're driving through the parking lots. So So they want more security procedures for parking lots, and that's at all sites. Putting para-educators on buses because the driver really can't manage, what's going on behind them. All they can do is pull over to the side of the road, but having another adult on there, a CSO or a para-educator on the bus when we're picking and dropping off students was also another thing. Adding classes on social media risks for the kids. We are introducing a lot of technology to the kids, and although we do training on social media risk, they were really talking about, and we're talking about more intensive training, like real spending time in doing training. And then invest in the SARB process with a local attorney. So as you probably heard Ms. Hargis talk about the fact that the county has removed the DA from the SARB process, as well as any legal ramifications for parents not bringing their kids to school. We used to have SARB hearings. We've been unable to do that. Neither has any of the surrounding districts. So what we were looking at doing in talking to the legal services at county would be to hire a local attorney who can act as an attorney who can actually subpoena through the courts, parents and students to a SARB hearing, and maybe split that cost with the local districts. So we have a SARB day, and it's not only our SARB day, but maybe Mojave's SARB day or Muroc SARB day too, and we spend the entire day or 2 days. We hire the attorney to be there along with some of the local agencies, and we conduct it that way. So we're working on trying to figure out how we can do that. The large districts like Kern High School District, Antelope Valley Union High School District, Santa Clarita and Hart High School District, they actually have an attorney on staff. And that's how they do it. They actually have a full-time attorney on staff. So their attorney handles it internally. So that's what they did. So that was our some of the things we're going to be doing in the future with these funds. LCAP is improving student achievement. So that includes improving scores on SBAC, our graduation rates, college readiness are the three main focuses of the CDE. So we are continuing to do our math and English support and intervention programs, increase the reclassification. We're focusing on increasing the reclassification of our EL students, continuing our AD college classes, continuing career technical training classes. We've added academic counselors to all sites. We're going to continue to support that. Additional data training for all staff, and add data analysis curriculum person, which we did. We added that duties to Mr. Dan Wexler, if you remember, came before the board. So some of the future stuff is the tutoring for students. So this was a big one. So we used to, although we don't really feel that they did a great job, we used to have outside agencies through, which title was it, Ms. Hargis? How would title funded the tutoring companies outside?
Well, it was through Title I.
Through Title I. So we would put X amount of dollars into tutoring, where parents can hire outside tutoring agencies to tutor their kids, and then it would be reimbursed by the district or paid for by the district. That was actually stopped by the federal government. So one of the suggestions was not only tutoring for students, but maybe hiring honor high school students, honor level high school students to do the tutoring, and do it as like a work study program where they actually do tutoring and stuff like that. At the high school, they were talking about they'd rather have peer tutoring. They'd rather be tutored by their own fellow students rather than have this outside company come in. So figuring out ways to get more tutoring for students. We currently offer tutoring through our adult ed, alt ed program for Abraham Lincoln. Ms. Harrell runs 2 nights a week. She runs tutoring for the district. Adding a reading specialist was a suggestion, obviously, from the teachers. Adding a reading specialist for the K through 2 area. Promoting the reading and math academies. We have just started them at the end of the school year at the elementary schools, and possibly bringing that to the middle school. Recruit more bilingual aides. This came from some of our ELAC and DLAC meetings, making sure that we have enough bilingual aides in the classrooms for those EL students. From the students themselves, create motivate, and I kind of grouped all what they were saying, but create motivational systems for achievement. In other words, they felt that the things that all of our teachers do and the sites do to motivate students to do better, whatever rewards we've come up with, they think that that really works and that we should try to do that more. They think that it really gets kids to work hard. Project-based learning, we did the NPDL, but to give teachers an opportunity to do more project-based learning, specifically science teachers, we're talking about that in their classrooms, you know, while they're doing their labs and stuff. Have a summer reading program, which we started this year, obviously, and summer school expansion, which again, we've started this year. So that was number 2. Number 3 goal, this is from the CD, improve student and parent engagement. So really, this means that getting students and parents to be more active in our committees, more active in what's happening in the school district in general. So continuation of our newsletter and marketing pieces, continuation of having a communication officer. We need to add the phone app to the smartphones. This is a Blackboard app and we're working on that this summer. Possibly add a marketing person and make sure that all our communications are in Spanish. And then some of the new ideas that have come up. A lot of parents talked about parent information nights once a month. So this isn't back to school nights. In a sense, it's just you pick a topic, whatever the topic would be. How to help your child read more at home. And then we would sponsor a parent night where parents would come in and learn techniques of how to get their kids to read more at home. You know, even teaching parents about Khan Academy videos on you know, all those types of. But really, it's more an information night of how they can better help their students. And they were thinking like doing it once a month where we could hold it at one of the sites and then just be able to talk about some of the techniques and some of the opportunities parents have to help their student. Annual activity calendars for classrooms. So what they would like to see is that each classroom or each teacher or each subject matter have a calendar on the website, and that they can check periodically so that if they're doing something special in their class or you know, when finals are, whatever, that they can look up, just check the website and see that Mr. Qualman gives a final every Friday, and that they should know about that. So, locally, I know that the Sheriff's Department does that. If I'm correct, John, Sheriff's Department does coffee or
They do,
breakfast.
but ice cream now with the
Ice cream,
cop
okay,
is
right.
more popular. More people come.
So coffee, ice cream with the principal, whatever works, so that basically that the principals, rotating principals would host a breakfast or a just meet and greet type thing. Have a parent volunteer day, so that periodically, whether it's once a quarter, once a month, have a parent volunteer day where parents can come to the school to volunteer on that day, and then at that moment we would live scan them and do everything right there to get them to be, encourage them to come. And then have teleconference for parents with teacher availability. So a lot of times parents and teachers can't match up their schedule when a parent wants to talk to the teacher. So allow teachers to Skype and use teleparenting techniques to be able to talk to parents. So the things that also is our community outreach. So this is a local goal, not a CDE goal. This is our community outreach goal that we keep for our community. So we opened the pre-K, and so we're continuing the pre-K, continuing our after-school programs, continuation of free meals and summer feeding. Obviously, all this we've been doing and will continue to do. Continuation and expansion of adult ed and EL-focused classes. Continuation for expansion of AV college classes, offerings to the public and the community. And to add more enrichment programs, such as Project Lead the Way for in the evening. So that came from our Abraham Lincoln parents. where they felt that that Abraham Lincoln students don't really get a chance to participate in some of the enrichment programs. And they would like us to maybe host enrichment programs in the evening that they can bring their kids in and actually participate in those things. Whether it's Project Lead the Way, Junctional Robotics, whatever it is. They were very open to what those could be. So some of the other things that we are looking to do, so we're looking to open in August 2018 our Early Childhood Development Center, which was the old Rosamond Elementary School. We may be, once that is open, one of the ideas came out that we could have maybe some of our or one of our pre-K classes to be actually a full day program. Right now they're split classes, so you have morning and afternoon, but actually maybe having one class, a full day program available to the community. Enrichment programs to be expanded from RES to WES as well. And they are looking to do that already. It just got started late in the year and they decided to hold off to the new year. Live scan and HR for the community. So our live scan machine should be here in the next month. And what they were looking at would be to have it available for the community, charge them, but have it available for the community so the community can come here and do it rather than go, I think the closest is Mojave to get it done. And then the Community Testing Center, which is the Pearson Testing Center for certifications and credentialing. And we're actually in construction on that right now at the high school. 5 is improved student access to technology. I don't have to go into the details. We are doing that more every year. So we'll just go to the next slide, which is what we're looking at to do in the future. So some of the things that they've asked for, community has asked for, is free internet for the entire community, to figure out a way to open our internet system up for the community after school and on weekends. Cell phone towers, specifically, this came from the TMS, parents and students, that you can't get any reception at. So put a cell phone tower somewhere on the corner of this lot, which I don't disagree with. I don't get any reception out there either. Increase the number of iPads for K-2 students. We are working on that. Instructional handbooks for students for all software and computers. So right now they get their laptop or their iPad and stuff, and so we should embed in the computers an actual instructional manual for every single piece of software that we have on there, so that they can kind of go to the help book on the actual computer. And so when they're, this came from parents as well as students, when they're at home and the teacher's not behind them to say, no, here, this is how you get there or whatever, that they can actually, their parents can actually go onto the computer with them, read the help screen of how to manipulate that software, whatever it is, and then do it. Ticker system to add websites to the firewall. A lot of complaints from students as well as teachers that a lot of educational sites are blocked. So what this would do is you would click on the icon, you would type in or cut and paste the actual website, and it would immediately go to Sean Riley, Dan. They would check it out, and within 24 hours you would get an email back either opening the website up through the firewall and saying your website's been approved, and they would embed it into the firewall so that you could get to that website, or they would come back and give the reason why we couldn't do that website. And then came from the students from the elementary school, both elementary schools. They wanted more learning games on their computer. They wanted, on the Chromebooks specifically, they wanted learning technology, more games and more fun stuff on there that they could practice whatever, but more in the game type system. So 6, another CDE goal, improve learning conditions through teacher training and curriculum development. So the curriculum development means to make sure you're teaching Common Core from the CDE, and then making sure that you're providing PD and teacher training. So we're continuing the 2-day workshop, continuing technology integration training, trying to continue to make sure that we keep X amount of minimum days, offer teachers credentialing assistance, which obviously we do, continuation of the statistical analysis, which is 10 hours per semester that teachers can put in for, continuation of BITSA, and we pay 100% of BITSA, which a lot of districts don't, and then add some cultural diversity training, and that's not just ethnicity, that could be social, cultural. So we did a training on low income, correct?
Right,
Sorry?
poverty.
Poverty training. We did one of those. So trying to make sure teachers are sensitive to the different types of students that they have in their classroom. And some additional things that we're looking for, staff asked for visitation days to programs. So, for instance, staff feels that they may not know what's really going on in certain programs at other sites, and what they would like is opportunities to spend a half a day or a part of their day visiting other sites to understand what the program is and what's going on at that program. They also have asked for additional training for specifically for SPED students, so how to deal with students with certain behaviors in their classroom, how to best teach certain behaviors in their classroom, whether it's autistic diagnosis or ADHD or whatever. They wanted more understanding of special ed students that are fully integrated into their classroom, so that they feel that they can reach out to those students in a more direct way. Abraham Lincoln Independent Study, we're looking to increase the rigor of the curriculum so it meets Common Core standards, because currently it does not. And we have a WASC accreditation coming up this year. And then also with Abraham Lincoln, increase the access to technology for the students. And Dan is working on that right now with Katie Notterman. So they will be getting laptops. It's the only hiccup or challenge is that you can't do standard installation because you have so many different grade levels. So you have to do manual installation for all those computers. And then LCAP goal number 7 has always been to expand our special ed services programs and resources. So last year, really 100% of our efforts of this fund were from the Ascend Academy. And so go to the next slide. And so what has come out of all of us and continually comes out is we need more life skills classes for these kids. So kids need to have, all kids need life skill classes, but specifically from parents as well as from the teachers, that we really need to invest money in more life skills training for these kids that they need to be able to survive after high school. They need to be able to get along in society. They need to be able to understand how things work out there, and to do more of that than we're currently doing. We do a little bit, but they want to do a lot more of that. And so that's something that we're doing. And that's our LCAP plan going into the next 3 years, and then you will get the formal document for approval in 2 weeks.
You need to recess now, or
We can present the budget, then recess for both.
okay.
LCAP calculator. Basically, this is a spreadsheet of 20 different worksheets that comes up the bottom line. The first page, so you'll see 2 columns, what we're, our funding for 16-17 and our funding for 17-18. So I'll concentrate on 17-18. Target components, the base grant from the state, grade span adjustments, supplemental grant, concentration grant, that Jeff mentioned earlier. The target is $33,417,000. That's not actually appropriate. If you go down a little, total phase-in.
So that target basically represents if we were fully funded through the LCFF, we were 100%, and the gap was 100% closed, we would be getting $33,417,000.
If the state had a windfall, they would be required to pay us. Right now, they only pay 28% of that gap. So what they're not giving us versus what they are is 28% is what they're basically doing. Total phase-in is $32,717,499, and the bottom kind of breaks that down. State aid, that's directly coming from the state, $22,674,000. EPA, that's $4.2 million. So EPA is Prop 30. This is the final year of Prop 30. It's gonna move to Prop 55 in 1819. No idea how much money we're gonna get. Right now, it's $200 per ADA for EPA. They just haven't figured it out for 1819 for Prop 55, and hopefully they do. Property taxes, I don't have an updated property tax information, so what you see is what I used last year. That's the most reliable number at the moment. I don't want to estimate higher, just because I want to play it safe. And we'll have new information in August, or July and August, so our first interim will reflect an increase, hopefully, in property values. And of course, if property taxes go up, the state entitlement goes down. So, it's not 1-for-1, but it's a certain percentage. The next page, unduplicated count. This is going to be revised the next time we come, in a couple weeks. Since we are a CEP approved school district, community eligibility provision, I need clarification on what number is going to carry over from that. So 16-17 was our baseline. Next, for 17-18, I need to know what number is going to carry over. Because right now, if we were to use our estimates, it would be 73%, but if this is our baseline, it should be 77.91%, which makes a large difference in our concentration. Funded ADA, you'll see our current year versus next year's projections. That's about a 4.8% increase in ADA, 4.7%, sorry. And at the bottom, you'll see that percentage I mentioned, 28 is what the gap funding for this year, 24.76 is what they're aiming for next year. Before I go into the budget, some information about the budget. We're eliminating the food service contribution with CEP. We're estimating to break even. Our contribution is really low this year, so next year should be break even, and that's our goal for food services. So we're not budgeting for it. 17-18, we're not receiving any one-time funds from the state. That's $700,000 in 16-17, so we won't see that. They are planning for it in 18-19 if things don't fall apart. Health and welfare increased 4% across the board. Salary increases, RTA negotiated a 3.5% increase. CSEA, we're currently negotiating, so there's nothing in the plans for an increase. Cost of living, everyone will get a 1.56% increase in cost of living. That's state mandated. CalSTRS increased 1.8%, so our total contribution for every dollar is 14.43%. CalPERS increased 1.5%. Currently, at 17-18, for every dollar in CalPERS, we will pay 15.531% in contributions. Again, property taxes and special ed, no new numbers are available for me to use, so I'm carrying over last year's numbers. That's the revenue side. Last year of EPA, we have already given notice to Saramark that we're eliminating their service. That's going to save us about $120,000 next year. We were bound by the contract, I couldn't get out, but it's up in August, so we're going to eliminate it. I could do that for $20,000 all year. Something we're exploring, I like to call it the SKUSD Transportation Partnership. It's basically free busing for all of our students. Based on studies that I tried to do with the numbers of kids that we bus currently versus those that we don't, the bus kids, their ADA is 2% higher than those that are not bused. So what is 2%? Well, what did we collect in bus fees in 16-17, about $20,000. ADA increase of 2% for the district is about $662,000. So if it's only 1%, it's still gonna pay for itself tenfold. And then we're gonna attach stipulations to it, first come, first serve. It's gonna be a privilege. You can lose the privilege of free busing. And finally, our budget.
Okay, one second. So one of the things that we did to increase our revenue also, and it's not in the budget yet, but we have to get more defined on it. So we added time to the day at Rare Earth. So we expanded their hours of the amount the students are actually at Rare Earth per day, adding tutoring time and different things like that. So we were very close to being a full day program. We were just short, not too many, a little over an hour. So what we ended up doing was we redid the schedule so that they would be considered by the CDE a full day program, and that increases our income from their enrollment by $600,000 a year. Because we only get a third of the ADA from Rare Earth and Abraham Lincoln because they're considered independent study programs. So by the CDEs, so by increasing those just an hour-ish a day, we end up making, Rare Earth jumps to a full-time program, and we don't change how we teach, what we teach, the way we teach, the atmosphere, the culture, just the time that they arrive, time that they leave, and ends up benefiting us between $600,000 and $700,000.
I thought that continuation schools had a normal amount, and I didn't think it was like a normal day. And this has been a while.
Yeah, no, so whether you're a
so it's
continuation
changed?
school or not, you're judged by the number of minutes that you do per year. So for a high school, which Rare Earth is considered a high school, they need 64,500 minutes, correct?
64,800.
64,800 minutes to be considered a full-time program, whether it's a continuation school or not. So that's so once you go below 80% of that, you then only get 30% of the funding for that. So last year we increased it a little, we increased the hours. The last couple of years we've been slowly increasing it, and this is the first time that we're gonna have an opportunity to make the 64,800 minutes. And if we can make the 64,800 minutes, which we're pretty much sure we will be able to do, it becomes a fully funded program.
Okay, because when I was doing attendance for it, it was I think it was like 3 hours, something like that.
Yeah, but we see what we do is when we do attendance at Rare Earth and it's put into the office here, they divide it by, it's divided by 3, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have to divide the attendance by 3. So we only get a third of the ADA. And if you remember that mistake that was made for, that we had to redo or by Jill, by P1 and P2, that year that cost us all that money, it was because she didn't divide by 3.
Okay.
She gave Rare Earth full attendance, so for the year, and so we didn't divide by 3, so we had to give back 2/3 of what we brought in for Rare Earth. But we're so close that if they just do tutoring, offer tutoring for an hour, just a little expansion here and there. It's not like the kids are going to be there, we're going to be there for 3, all this time. Just giving a little extra help and giving them a little bit extra flexibility, and we can call it a full-time program.
So what would the minutes be for the day then?
The minutes would increase, the minutes per day would increase less than an hour. I think it's 50-something minutes, and they wouldn't have minimum days.
So what do they have now?
What
would their
have the
minutes be?
calendar.
What would they'd start at 9 o'clock and end at
No, they
2 or
start,
something?
8:30.
I'm just
they
saying.
start at 8:30.
8:30 to 1:25 right now, and it's 8:30 to 2:35 next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
So,
okay.
and what'll happen is and the other way we made up time was we took away the minimum days, which is 26 days out of the year that they would have minimum days. We actually save that time They don't get the minimum days for the PLCs, but we worked it out where they won't need that time, and because of the later start time for the teachers. And so it ends up being a full program, which allows us the funding, which allows us to support the program better. And one of the issues we've always had with I don't know, always, one of the issues we've had since I've gotten here with Alt Ed is that the program, although we try to fund it as much as we possibly can, per student, you lose money. It's just a loss. And there are plenty of programs that lose money, but I mean, our SPED program loses money. But if there's an opportunity where I can capture $600,000-700,000 more dollars and then use that to make that a better program and make Abraham Lincoln a better program at the same time and be able to fund things more and give them more access to more things, then I'm actually I'm actually expanding the program, and I'm not impeding any other site. I'm actually probably, it'll start paying for itself, as well as be able to get them all the access to whatever they need and give them more opportunities. So this is an easy way to do it, and you're also helping the kids because it's a better curriculum day for them. So it's kind of like a win-win. So we haven't included that in the budget, but we're double checking everything with our auditors, and we hopefully will be able to access that money too. Sorry, I just wanted to mention that in case they look so. Sorry. Sorry, Eric. I know you're tired.
Where was I? The revenue side, LCFF sources, which we went over with the LCFF calculator, comes directly from that. Federal revenues, it's not really an increase, it's just an increased contribution from the district side. That's really special ed. Other state revenues, those are other programs that either the state runs, like a grant program, say like CCPT or something like that. There's nowhere else to really put that money, so it falls into that category. Other local revenues, it's not really changed from last year. That again is kind of the tax information that I don't have. That would be like unsecured taxes and paying back past due taxes. So those numbers will change in 2 weeks if I get more information from the county. Expenditures, salaries. So that number that you see, it is less than last year's. That's because our position control hasn't been updated and rolled over for next year. So by the time I come to you in 2 weeks, that will be higher. Position control is done by HR. I'm working with them to roll these numbers over so I can have a more accurate number for our certificated numbers next year. Classified salaries is higher, and that's just based on our current year. Employee benefits, they have gone up. We have hired more and more people have qualified for benefits, plus the 4% increase in the cost of benefits. And I'll say 4% is much better than what we've seen in the past few years, which has been 8 or 7%. It'll stop one of these days. Books and supplies. The budget is higher only because last 16-17 MPDL projects weren't really budgeted for, so we're taking that into account this year. Talia loves them. Keeps her very busy. Service and other operating expenditures. These are like licenses for software, vendors that come out, test our water, things like that. Prices are increasing across the board. Capital outlay, that may or may not go up. We're looking at purchasing 2 buses. I am applying for 2 grants, so the 150 should be what the cost of 2 buses is with the grants. The buses themselves are about $160,000 a piece. Other outgoing, that's to cover costs and other resources. And so you see total expenditures, $39,301,000. Looking at, and that's before contribution. If you look below, the contributions is $6.3 million. That's for everything from ACES to special ed. There's no program that pays for itself. We contribute to almost everything to have it run. ACES, we spend about $800,000. That's our after-school program. We get about $400,000. So we're looking at a $370,000.
So when you said certificated salaries haven't been posted yet, you're meaning step and column adjustments?
Right.
So not only that, but we have a lot of open positions that if you don't hire somebody, you can't put it in the system.
Right.
So everybody that left, so all the people that haven't been permanently hired back yet, and all the people that retired and all the open positions, it's if it's an open position in the system, it's zero salary, zero benefits, zero everything. When you put a name in, then we know the step and column and it'll fill in. So if it isn't updated all the way, you've got not only the increase, but you've got all the new teachers and stuff.
So that's the number that'll change, is what's going into certificated salaries
Yeah,
for
Pretty much, yeah.
17, 18.
yeah. Rather than going, so every site, every reason, there's a different funding line. It'll take me the rest of my life to go one by one. So I use position control to roll it all over.
Right.
But I can't do that until HR does their thing. So I'm working with Jessica and HR. So once they do their thing, I could roll it all over with the increases and reflect the truer number.
Which means the expenditures on this budget will actually be higher.
Yes.
Yeah. Plus you have to take into account teachers that retire at a higher salary.
Right.
So they're coming off, and then, so.
Yeah, because that was the first thing that jumped out at me is the reduction in certificated salaries with the large increase in classified salaries.
What a surprise.
Well, and
I know what you're saying, yeah.
Part of it is personnel,
Yeah.
just overall numbers.
And you know what, a lot of it is, and we're gonna, I don't think that our classified will be as high, because Eric and I had a meeting, I don't even know if it was today or yesterday when we met, Eric, but it was about overtime. It was about that, a lot of the classified staff has gotten a lot of overtime over the last year, and that we really need to curb our overtime, and we need to really put some reins on the overtime. Because we've been kind of saying, hey, if it's needed, go for it, but we really have to start reining it in and having, instead of the site administrators approve the overtime, having the business office be the one that approves the overtime. And Eric's notoriously mean, so it should lower that number.
And that was my second question. So on the first page, again, item 1, certificated salaries, you show unrestricted certificated salaries increasing by 600,000, but restricted going way down, almost cut in half. Explain to me the difference between unrestricted and restricted.
Sped teachers.
And restricted, the cost
Restricted
of,
would be sped teachers.
and that's going down?
They came off the system.
Because we have to hire somebody.
We have to
So,
hire people in.
but chances are that'll be the one that then takes when we rehire.
Yeah,
all of
I mean,
those.
we're short, if you look at, and I should have brought one for you. If you look at, I have one for you. If you look at what our needs are right now, it's literally across the board at every site, sped teachers.
Right, exactly. So
Yeah.
that'll change dramatically. That'll
Yeah,
actually,
that'll
that'll
be
actually
the one
probably
that'll jump
match
the
or
most.
it'll match or probably exceed last year's budget.
Oh, yeah.
In that area.
And because the number of sped students have also increased, so.
Right, exactly. So then the last question I had is, where is it? So the unassigned, unappropriated amount on page 2, the 1.06 million, that's the reserve. Is that accurate? The
Well, the entire-
last line on page 2.
When you look at the entire amount of 3.6 at 11.2%, so when you're looking at total reserve numbers, it's 11.2%, which is 3.685.
Okay.
But you have to either the reserve numbers, once you have a reserve, the reserve is split up into two categories, either assigned reserve, in other words, contingency liability issues, and then unassigned reserve, which is your unrestricted, unassigned reserve. So 2.6 million is in the reserves, is put aside for liabilities, existing liabilities, and the unassigned is our, I don't want to say play money, but it's
And which one is the one that you have to use for the mandated reserve of 3%?
the $3.6 million. And part of that 2.6 million is 3%, is part of that reserve.
Right. Okay. So then when you divide that by the total budget amount, the 39.6 million, that's where you get your reserve percentage.
Right, the 11.2%, right.
There. The public has asked.
The public has asked and commented.
It seems like a lot of money there somewhere.
You know, it's yeah, I mean, you know, there are a couple of issues that, you know, I go to Sacramento a lot and with the county to talk about politics and stuff, and when I talk to I get to be the one, the superintendent that goes and talks to the finance people, you know, talks to the California State finance people. And the thing that, my biggest fear is what we call unfunded liabilities. So, and we talked about this at S&P, you know, and their biggest fear is unfunded liabilities, which basically means that in the real world, out in retail, out in the commercial section, businesses can't have liabilities that are not funded on their books. So, in other words, accumulated sick days, accumulated vacation days, retirement benefits. Every year you do what's called an actuarial, and Eric gets that done, and it gives you off-books, what we call the off-books liabilities, that if you were to close your doors today, you would still owe all this to your employees, to all those different things. We don't keep off-books unfunded liabilities. We don't have to fund them right now. It's not required by the state because everybody's a state employee, so the state technically. But as you can see with CalSTRS and CalPERS, the state is starting to say, hey, we don't have a lot of money, you know, we want you to help fund these off-books liabilities. So right now, we're only being asked to fund more and more of CalPERS and CalSTRS. But I can see a future, in talking to the S&P people, they can see a future where all of a sudden, because they wanted to know about our actuarials, and so did our finance people, that the state may start saying, hey, you know your retirement medical benefits? Well, that's your decision and that's on you, so we want you to start funding it. Which means they'll give you 5 years to start socking money away. So every year you say, we have this much retirement medical possibility, and they want us to fund that thing. So there's a bunch of unfunded liabilities on our books that currently we're not legally obligated to fund because we are California state employees, and that's up to the state to fund. But, you know, it just takes a wave of legislation to all of a sudden start saying, you know what, we're giving you local money, you fund that all locally. And that means our reserves are gone in a heartbeat. And that's the biggest fear. I mean, you know, making payroll and that type of stuff, I mean, I'm not fearing that, I'm just fearing the swipe of the pen of legislation, where they just keep pushing more and more expenses back on us, and we have to eat it, like CalSTRS and CalPERS right now. Because it's ridiculous what the, in 2021, 2022, what the cost of CalSTRS and CalPERS is going to be. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be ridiculously bad. So.
I have a question there. On column D, where you have other finances from sources, the letter B, transfer out, that's the first page. You have 375,000, whatever, then you have zero.
Yeah, so that's the food services he was talking about?
Oh, is that what you were talking, I don't know.
Yeah.
What was that? Is it going to change or?
Yeah. You're looking at column B.
Column D and then
Oh, D.
letter B.
Letter B.
Yeah, so other financing services, $375,000 transfer
Right.
out this year, but yet we have nothing
No, you have
next
nothing
year.
for next year. So.
And that's
Right.
the food services, correct?
That's food services, yeah.
So currently this year, we're expected to give Fund 13 which is our food service fund, will be short about, probably not 375 this year, probably a little less than that, but next year, Eric is expecting to break even because of our.
So all food services are charged to Fund 13, so you can't have a negative balance in the fund. So we've transferred from Fund 1 to 13. We budgeted 375. We've only really spent about $100,000, and that we might even get some money back depending on the final numbers for the year. So it's doing much better than it has. And I'm planning on next year not funding it at all, having Fund 13 balance itself.
So in historically, well, the first year we did it, we took $500,000 and funded Fund 13. And then every year it's gone down, and this year is last year was 350, and this year, well, 2 years ago was 350. This past year, we're expecting it to be, like Eric said, $100,000, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, and then we break even. I mean, that's just unbelievable. It would be unbelievable to break even.
The other item that leaps out at me is just that overall 17-18 budget number of $39.6 million. What was it 5 years ago? 24?
Yeah, 20. It was probably 24, 26, right in there somewhere. Yeah,
And that's just
definitely less than 27.
incredible. I mean, and certainly part of it's ADA, but a larger portion of that is through the LCFF.
Yeah, so
and filling in of the gap.
30%, right? So 30%. So we would go in. Remember, we'd get the 100% financing, and then they would take 28% back, right? So if you really look at this, just rounding it up to 30% of 40 million, that's 12 million right there. So you minus 12 million, you're back to 27.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
So
2,000 what? That's a cool one.
So you wonder, John, who would want to buy a bond? Who would, if you can look and say, this is what we can prove, this is what we can show you, plus we got an A+ rating.
right.
You're not going to be, there won't be so many sleepless nights.
Right.
If I make this, if I buy this, then.
Right.
So I shouldn't talk about the imminent rollback that's waiting out there at some point.
God, can you imagine?
Hopefully more than 5 years from now.
We're all retired on.
Oh man.
Well, on the LCAP, I just want to make a comment or two, is that I am absolutely impressed with the suggestions. There's some on here that I never even would have thought about. There's some on here that I still wouldn't even think about because they're kind of a little on the weird side. But the having the extra adult on the buses, that's just something that probably we should have thought of.
And that came from the
Time
students.
ago.
That one came from the students, correct? Leanne, I
Yes.
think? Yeah, that one came from students.
I think that was,
Yeah.
and it was elementary
I
students.
think
Yeah,
that was
it
elementary
was,
students
yeah.
that actually did that.
I think
yeah.
so was the uncomfortable bus seats was
Yeah.
from elementary too.
Elementary,
But,
they weren't
yeah.
comfortable.
But just some of this is absolutely amazing. Okay, I was thinking about this earlier this year about the Rosamond High School parking, them having stickers.
Yeah, parking stickers, correct.
Because,
Yeah.
I mean, people park in there, you don't even know who they are, but if you have a parking sticker or visitor pass,
Right. yeah,
something
exactly.
along that line. And I thought that was really great. And then having the parent volunteer opportunities for the high school. Most parents don't think that, they need to go to that high school. But in some cases, I think it's very important. But no, there's absolutely some amazing things in here that I'm just impressed.
Yeah, and I have to
Of the
compliment
meetings that come
Leanne.
up.
Leanne set up all the meetings, she set up the times, she set up everything and dragged me to them. And so, yes, so she did a really good job of getting us out there multiple times and multiple different times during the day, multiple times during the week being available. She also is the one that set up with her team, set up the surveys that's on the website for the parents, which is very, very good, and they're still up there. So yeah, so really the gathering of the data that you're seeing is really Leanne and her team that did everything.
Well, and this one that I'm looking at right now, and it's from students, is classes on negative effects of social media. They don't think about it until it affects them.
Yeah.
But
So they
it's
post
becoming more and
something.
more prevalent,
Yeah.
and and this one also, the life skills class, budgeting, taxes, you know, that type of thing. So like I said, I just wanted to throw that out there, that I thought this was very interesting, and it looks like it's very productive, that we're, you know, getting at least information from the students in the community and staff. I saw there was quite a few, you know, good comments from the staff too, so.
Well, because I am Mr. Negative, we need to keep in mind though, for the classroom teacher, the more things that we pile on, the more programs and things that we expect to infuse into the programs, the more you're going to then impact what we're trying to do on a daily basis. Those things then get degraded, and it's difficult to maintain those. What is always my goal each and every year is to take the program that I have and figure out how to do that better for the students so that they can achieve better. But if I'm being given 4 or 5 or 7 other things to do, I can't keep my focus on that. And we've got to be careful not to do that. I agree with a lot of the things that you see in there, but you've got to understand there's consequences with those. I hear that all the time from teachers, is they've never ever worked so hard and are getting so burnt out. And we don't want to begin this revolving door of teachers leaving our district and leaving our profession because you just can't do it. And as we add these programs, and they're excellent, useful, beneficial programs, we've got to keep a balance in there, or you can't keep your concentration on the major task at hand.
Teaching.
Yeah, teaching primarily your class and your curriculum, and how do I do that better each and every year? I was looking at another program that is being proposed to us for next year, and I was looking at that, and I wanted to know more about it before I lent what was my knee-jerk opinion about it. But as I'm looking at it, I'm going, why would I spend all of my time to put in all of this information into this new program when it's already there for me in a different format? You're going to have to convince me that if you're going to want me to invest hours and hours and hours just taking information I already have and putting it into a different format and a different way to use it, why am I doing that? You know, so, and that's just, these are coming up more and more often, and it is the one complaint I hear mostly from teachers is, are you kidding me? You're giving me another thing that I got to figure out how to do? I haven't even figured out this one yet.
In response to what you're saying, would it be helpful or beneficial after you got your information into the new format or whatever, would it end up being better for you, do you think, or not?
I would have to see a lot more about it, but just in my, you know, going through the tutorial of it,
Right.
I'm going, yeah, I could see how that would help a newer teacher who's developing their experience and trying to develop their understanding of how to teach what it is we have to teach. But for a veteran teacher, if that veteran teacher has been effective year in and year out, I can't see where what I can get out of that program comes close to matching the time and investment that I'm putting into it.
Right.
And it's just one of many, but you know, I try to get as much information about it before I start spewing my frustrations.
Actually, the program that Jim's talking about is primarily will benefit the newer teachers. So what it's trying to do is trying to take what Jim has accumulated over X amount of years of knowledge and putting it in a place that can be accessed by the newer teachers. So if a new teacher were to come into his math department at TMS, they would be able to have access to all his worksheets and how he teaches the chapters and notes on what works, what doesn't work, what standards he concentrates on, what order things happen. And so it's basically literally can pop open it and see the pacing, exactly the tests, the workbooks, everything that they use will be right there online for them. And so that's the program that Jim's talking about. For a teacher like Jim, the direct benefit to Jim in his class is not going to be, is really not there. And that I have to agree 100%. He's not going to really see the huge benefit from it because he's got his systems already in place. That's what he does. He has his systems year to year. He knows what he wants to do, knows how he wants to do it, and he already has all his systems. So this is really designed more for a different level teacher.
Yeah, but it's the veteran teacher who has to input and get it going.
You know what? Sometimes I think, Lori doesn't have enough for you to do around the house, so I thought, well, this is an opportunity I could give Jim to spend some of his time and
I
efforts.
appreciate that, thank you.
Yeah, I'm always thinking of you guys. So anyway.
See, myself, if I was a new teacher and I had that information, and the teacher that put that information in is right next door to me, I'd go talk to him. And the reason that I would do that is because what you see, black and white, whatever, is words on paper.
Right.
If I can go talk to him, I'm gonna get more, and this is me, more information from him than if I read that.
But when are we going to talk?
No, I understand, but I'm just, well, I bring a coffee in the morning for 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be a huge amount of time, because as, a veteran teacher, he does want to pass on his knowledge. He just, well, most of it. No, no, but I mean, he does, because I think most of our teachers here in the district do that, because they were once that young new teacher.
Right.
And if a teacher took them, a veteran teacher took them under their wing and said, hey, let me help you, let's do this, let's do that, or if you have any questions. I mean, and I know you said that to people, well, if you have any questions, let me know. Well, then making the time is obviously a different thing, but, like I said, if it's just 5 minutes, what he's telling me, I think will affect me more than what I can read. So I have a little bit
It's tough
different.
because we have between 60 and 65% of our teachers are brand new
I know.
over the last 4 or 5 years.
I know.
On top of that, the veteran teachers are assigned by Ms. Hargis to do mentoring for all our interns. They
I
need
know.
mentor teachers assigned to them. BITSA needs BITSA provider teachers assigned to them. So, a lot of our teachers have been very generous to apply to help those younger teachers in those capacities. So, but this gives us an electronic version of how to teach a subject or how to teach a grade level, and that's something that we're looking to document. It's not something that's going to be turned on over a year. It's something that you continually feed data
Exactly.
into, so we have this huge database over a 5-year period. And then, again, it's a voluntary program. We're not telling the teachers you have to do it. We're offering training, asking them to look at it. If they like it, we'll give you whatever support you need to use it and give us feedback on it. So
And I would use it, but just myself personally, I would rather talk to that person and get the experience
All
from
it
them.
is talking to Mr. Quellman and him saying, oh yeah, this is how you do it, and all those forms are over here.
Right.
so
Yeah.
I mean, it's a combination, and I understand that, it's just that, pick it on, but anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Actually, the program that you're talking about sounds a lot like a program that we use in the automotive industry. It's almost a forum online, and you, of course, pay dues to be able to be on it, but you cannot go on there and basically ask for a favor on maybe something you've never worked on, don't know how the system works, without paying the dues of, you have to go in and you have to answer people's questions.
okay.
See if you
that's
have
good. Yeah.
run into this problem, and if you don't go in there and answer questions, you will not be accepted into be able to get any information back out.
Yeah.
So it's really neat, because I'll go in there, and if I've got something that's bothering me, I'll go in there, punch in what I've got going. the latest page that's come up with problems will come up, and I'll be looking on there, it's like, oh, yeah, we ran into this last week, this is what we found, so I type that in and send that off, and we're reading it, it's like, oh yeah, we did this 2 weeks ago, same problem, and this was the easiest fix, and we give them where we found the information, how to test all this, so make sure that they know. And so, and then pops up a couple of answers, wait maybe a couple hours, go back and check, and sure enough, I'll have some either emails or go back on the forum, and it's like, well, oh, hey, I didn't think about this, and this is how I gotta test this, and it's like, okay, let's go do that, and it really helps out. So it sounds like it's something similar to that, so and let me tell you, it has saved my bacon so many times. Okay, anyways, can we go back into,
Are you motioning?
motioning to go back
Second.
to the meeting?
Session?
Mr. Gutierrez, in a second. Mr. Reader?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye. 8:45.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 8:46.
Thanks for staying.